You sit across from your friend at a crowded cafe. The laughter is loud, the conversation's buzzing, but something feels off. Your friend cracks a joke at your expense. People laugh at you, not with you. You smile weakly, pretending it doesn't sting. Inside, you wonder, why do I even care so much about their approval? Why am I sitting here, in a place that doesn't feel right, with people who don't feel real? This is the trap most people fall into, caring too much, about what others think, about fitting in, about being liked. And in that endless cycle of trying, you give away your power. What if the moment you stopped caring, you became untouchable? What if no insult, no rejection, no betrayal could break you again? What if indifference is the ultimate weapon? In this video, we'll uncover why caring too much weakens you, how detachment makes you stronger, and the hidden power you gain when you finally let go. It begins quietly, in the shadows of your past. Why do you care so much? Why do you let words, glances, and silence dig so deep into you? Psychologists suggest the answer is older than you think. We are conditioned from childhood to crave approval, the nod of a parent, the praise of a teacher, the smile of a friend. Every rejection plants a seed of fear. Every small victory, a craving for more validation. But it isn't just childhood. Attachment styles shape us long before we even know the word. The anxious attachment, always chasing closeness, terrified of disapproval. The avoidant attachment, appearing strong but secretly wounded by intimacy and rejection. Two sides of the same coin, two ways of caring too much. And then there is the ego, quietly pulling the strings. It whispers, "You must be admired, you must be respected, you must be loved." It traps us in endless comparisons and expectations, who you should be, how people should treat you. This is why so many of us walk into rooms we don't want to be in, laugh at jokes that sting, and keep company that doesn't serve us. We care too much. And in caring, we surrender our power. There is a hidden cost to caring too much. It doesn't show up all at once. It creeps in, slowly, quietly, until it consumes you. First, the exhaustion. You bend, you stretch, you adjust yourself to meet the expectations of others. Day after day, you feel drained, not from work, not from life, but from the weight of needing to be liked. Then comes the pain. A single insult slices deeper than it should. A careless betrayal feels like the end of the world. When you've given others the power to validate you, you've also given them the power to destroy you. And what's worse is the slow disappearance of your own self. Piece by piece, you trade your identity for acceptance. You laugh when you don't want to. You agree when you should say no. You walk paths that don't belong to you, just to stay in line with someone else's approval. Boundaries blur. You allow things that cross your values. You tolerate treatment that wounds your dignity. And before you know it, you're not living your life. You're performing in someone else's show. This is the price of caring too much. Exhaustion, vulnerability, loss of self, and boundaries turned to dust. But what if you could break free? What if you could care less, not to be cold, but to be strong? That's the key to Chapter 3, the true meaning of stopping to care. To stop caring. At first, it sounds brutal, cold, inhuman. But the truth is far from that. Stopping to care is not about shutting down your heart or becoming stone. It's about a shift. A quiet rebellion against a world that feeds on your overinvestment. Psychologists call it detachment. Not numbness, but boundaries. Not silence, but control. You choose where your energy flows and where it doesn't. It begins with awareness. The ego loves to whisper, be admired, be perfect, be accepted. But when you notice that voice, when you catch it in the act, you break its hold. You see that most of your caring is not about truth, but about image. To stop caring means You no longer chase validation. You no longer bleed for approval. You no longer allow other people's opinions to decide your worth. It is not about coldness. It is about clarity. You care where it matters, about your values, your principles, your chosen path. Everything else, the gossip, the disapproval, the empty noise you let fall away. This is freedom. But freedom requires tools, and the journey doesn't end with knowing what detachment island. The real battle lies ahead, learning how to stop caring, step by step. That is where our story turns next. Freedom doesn't come just from knowing you should stop caring. It comes from building the tools to actually do it. The first weapon, the reality check. When emotions rise, pause, observe, ask yourself, is this really mine, or am I carrying someone else's drama? The second, boundaries. A simple word, but a hard practice. Boundaries mean saying no, walking away, refusing to stay where respect is absent. Boundaries protect your energy like armor. The third, awareness of triggers. Learn what makes you flinch, what makes you overreact. Notice the pattern, and the pattern loses its grip. Emotional awareness turns pain into information, not chains. The fourth tool, let go of approval. No longer asking, what do they think? But instead, what do I know? What do I value? This is the shift from being controlled to being in control. And then, the most difficult skill, take the hit. Not every insult deserves a defense. Not every attack needs an answer. Sometimes, the greatest strength is indifference. When you don't flinch, you don't feed the fire. Finally, choose where you invest. Not every person deserves your care. Not every battle deserves your energy. Learn to give selectively, and your life begins to breathe again. These tools are not easy. They demand practice, discipline, and courage. But with each step, you feel it. The grip of others loosening, the power returning to you. When you stop caring too much, the world changes. No insult can cut too deep. No betrayal can shatter you. No opinion can define who you are. You become untouchable not because you feel nothing, but because you've learned to master what you feel. This is the paradox. When you stop caring, you win. And, from that moment on, nobody will ever hurt you the same way again.